Hey guys, welcome back to my sewing room. I'm Kelly and you found me here on Pick and Stitches, and today I'm going to be walking you through this Jolly Bar jig quilt. As you can see, I could not help myself. I ended up making two. This is going to be a pattern from Fat Quarter Shop. They've got an entire kit. It's going to be put together with Camille Ross Kelly's fabric. This is Sweetwater, but I think you're going to love it, and it comes together so super fast. Guys, so the quilt kit is roughly $41 and then shipping, and that's going to be everything that you need for the entire quilt top. And all you'll need to do is get your backing. So it'll have the binding, the sashing, and the dessert roll? No, Jolly Bar. Hello, it's the Jolly Bar jig. It's a Jolly Bar. So this came together really fast. It took me about 3 hours to make both of these. And if you watched my unboxing video, the Fat Quarter Shop did send me some fabric to make this with them. And they sent me a layer cake because these kits weren't put together yet. So I had an entire layer cake, which is twice as much fabric. And I couldn't decide if I wanted to do the light background or the dark background. And I figured at least this way I wouldn't have so many leftovers. So I just went ahead and made two. But I did do the entire binding in this scrappy border with my leftovers. I literally had maybe, I think, so I didn't use the white on white fabric, and I think I had maybe about 15 inches left of my actual layer cake when it was all said and done. So I cut those into those 2.5-inch strips to use the very end of it, and I loved it. Let's jump right on in and I'll show you what we did. Okay, so if you guys recall, I did start off with a layer cake. So since the Jolly Bars are typically going to be 5 by 10, layer cake is 10 by 10, I cut these in half. And so now I've got basically two sets of Jolly Bars equivalent. So now I'm going to take one and do it with my light background, and I'm going to take the other one and do it with my dark background. Okay, so I just have my 1/4-inch foot here, and I've chosen my pieces that I'm going to sew together, and I'm just going to put them together, and I'm just going to sew them together with a 1/4-inch seam on both sides. So as you can see, I've got kind of a trail of them off to the side. I'm just going to chain piece. And that seam guide foot just kind of makes it easy. So again, because I started off with an entire layer cake, I'm going to go ahead and just do all of my pieces. So I have a bigger variety of color options. I am going to leave off some of my text prints though. I'm going to keep those a little bit larger because I think they're easier to see. I did do a couple of them, so it won't all be void of this skinnier section, but I think I'm going to like those a little bit larger. And as you're sewing these out, it may be that you're looking at your pattern going, gosh, I just sewed this cross stitch on the right-hand side and this one on the right-hand side. But since we're going to sew both sides and then cut it in half, you're going to have one with the print on the right and one with the print on the left if it's a directional print where you have to keep it up and down. Okay, so now I'm going to take this entire chain and pull it into my lap and then come at the other side. And we're just going to sew that 1/4-inch seam all the way down. Now it is kind of wanting to get caught in my lap and twist a little bit. And if that's bothering you, you can always cut them apart before you sew the other side. Okay, so now I'm just going to cut all these apart. I'm going to take them over to my pressing station. I am going to set the seams and then I'm going to cut it in half on each side. So I think this whole quilt is going to come together really fast, you guys. I think pressing is going to be, as usual, the biggest task. And if you started with a Jolly Bar, this would be the first thing you would be cutting at all. I had a little cutting to do to start because I was a little larger. And do remember, I did not starch these so that I could get the full 2 sets out of one layer cake. Okay, so now we've got all those cut apart. We're going to cut these down to 2.5 inches. And then we'll take them back to the pressing station and we'll just press towards our darker side. And I'm just kind of flipping them over so all my seams will be on the same side. So now we're just going to press all of these open, going to press towards my darker side. And I have had this iron for a couple months now, guys, and I kind of hesitated to give it a rage review in the very beginning because I just didn't have the experience with it, but I absolutely love it. This is the Rowenta. I had kind of been eyeballing some of the more expensive versions of the Laura Star. Not that I was going to purchase it, but I thought that's what I wanted. And then I saw this one and it has just been a dream. And you know, how much time do you spend in the sewing room and what tasks are taking the bulk of your time? And for me, a lot of my time is ironing and trying to get my seams flat and pressed right. So the fact that this one just keeps going, I don't have to fill it up all the time. It makes it so much easier, especially when you're doing one of these quilts that's going to have, this one's not too bad on the seams, but some have so many seams that you really want super flat. So I will go ahead and iron out the rest of these and meet you back at the cutting table. Okay, so now I've got all of my blocks up on the wall, and do recall that I've got enough here to make 2 of these size quilts. So I'm going to go ahead and put our rows together, and then we're going to put the sashing between each row. Okay, so we're just going to sew our 2 pieces together. We've got our full-size piece from the Jolly Bar and then our 2 halvesies, and we're going to sew those together in the entire row from right to left. And I am still just using that 1/4 inch foot with my 60 glide thread. So this is kind of my method of choice. The threads did kind of drive me a little bit nuts on this project because I did not starch, and those of you who've watched my channel for a long time know that I love to starch, so that was a little bit not stressful but annoying. But at the end of the day, this quilt came together so fast and so easy, and I didn't have to handle it a lot, so it wasn't a huge problem, and that gave me the opportunity to make 2 full quilts. So we'll go ahead and just sew the rest of these out. And then we'll take it over to the pressing station, and I'm just going to press one way on this whole row. None of this is going to nest, and I'm not going to bother with pressing it open. Together, I have 2 different sashings I'm going to use. The one on the left is going to get a cream on cream sashing, and the one on the right is going to get a black with the white crisscross sashing. Okay, so now we have the center of our quilt tops finished, and you can see it's quite different with that different background fabric. So I think that these are going to be great to kind of compare and contrast. Next, we're going to add our right and left pieces and then our top and bottom pieces. And for this particular quilt, the borders are the same size as the sashing. So I'm just going to add 4 more strips around the outside edges and meet you back here. Okay guys, now both of my quilt tops are done, and I'm actually a little surprised. I think I like the darker one better, and I normally would gravitate towards the other one. We'll have to see it once I get it quilted and bound, but it's taken me about 3 hours start to finish to cut all this out, sew it all together, and I made my binding. So everything except for the quilting. Okay, guys, that's a wrap on the Jolly Bar Jig Quilt. Again, this is available at Fat Quarter Shop. I'll put a link in the description for you. I do appreciate it when you guys use my links to go shopping. If you're not familiar with the way affiliate links work, it's just a way to support the channel. When you go shop through the affiliate links, it just gives us credit for you going there. It doesn't cost you anything, and it lets them know that we're sending people their way. So if you enjoy watching any of these unboxing videos or some of my tutorials, it does help me out a ton if you would hit that like and subscribe button. And until then, I will see you guys next time.
And I almost forgot, guys, which is your favorite? Tell me which one you like better, the light or the dark?